Okay, and hello and welcome. And what we did, my name is Martin, and what we did last time was we created a tunnel system from inside the interior area. I've gone through and added a couple of things like the bricks, and I found a grate in one of the environmental packs that I had. This is again connected to a tube, which is or a cylinder that we added the brick layering to the outside, and then we created a hole in our landscape, and that's how we got out of the tunnel. So what we need to do now, or what we would like to do now, is create a cave or a hole in our landscape for a cave. Now, what I want to do is I have actually created a small temple complex up here at the very top, using again one of the environmental packs that I had, which was an Asian temple pack. So essentially what I've done is there was this doorway that I used, which was a mesh. Essentially what I would like to do is have the character come from inside of this hole, walk up this way, and then walk into the temple area. Okay. So in order to do that, I will want to cut a hole down here in the landscape, and I'm actually going to over here on the other side, just like we did, just how we came outside and underneath to create our tunnel to get out of the city. We are actually going to create all the like the staircase or the upper levels that we're going to need to be able to get up to this doorway. All right, so let's go ahead and first things first, what we'll do is we'll cut the hole in the landscape. And there's a couple of things that I want you guys to realize that when you're doing this. First of all, the polys down here, when we created the hole in the floor, it was a very nice hole because the polys had not been stretched. Over here, the polys are stretched, so when you take out one of those squares, it may create this big, giant, jagged line that might go up. So we may need to create a softer area, an area that comes out a little bit where the materials are not stretched as much. Create our hole there, and then we're going to have to kind of hide the outside, sort of like what we did over here with this one, where we created a would look like a sewer area or top. We'll have to create like a rock entrance or something like that in the front, so then that way we can actually it won't look as bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's go to landscape. Okay, always takes my computer a second. There we go. All right, so inside landscape, again, what we're going to want to do is go to the visibility layer. I don't want that soft visibility, so I'm going to take the brush down, and I'm going to take the brush size smaller, so because we really don't need it to, the hole in the mountain to be that big. We just need it to be large enough for our character to get through. So that actually didn't turn out that bad. I want to see if I can't get somewhere where the polys are stretched a little bit more. And see there, it took like a weird kind of elongated chunk. And it also took a section out from over here, which is strange. So let's hold shift and let's add that all those areas back in. And okay, so we don't have to do too much. The polys were stretched there. If we want to, maybe we can lower a little bit of that. And then the other thing we could also do is get our character down here and push them through and make sure that they can actually get through the area. I'll make that just a little bit bigger. Okay, so now that we have the hole a little bit bigger, let's go grab our character and make sure that the hole itself or the entrance to the cave is not going to be too small or too big. So I'm just going to grab my first person starting point and bring that over to the cave entrance. So then that way each time I push play, I'll just be starting here. Okay, and for me that's probably good, close enough. Okay. So the next thing would be to create the rock tunnel that's going to be the cave itself. The first thing that I want to do is dress the outside of this. So real quick, I'm going to go into contents, and I believe that I have a one that is for caves. Okay, so yes, there's the pack right there called Soul Cave. So I'm going to double click in Soul Cave. I'm going to go into Environment, and there's where I'm going to have my meshes. So I do have quite a bit of rocks and different things that I can add to the outside of this to try, sort of dress up the beginning of it. I sort of like this kind of like stairway thing that makes it look like an ancient civilization or something left it there. We'll just have to give it a second while it builds. There it goes. Okay. So that looks pretty formal. No. Let's make it look less conspicuous. So possibly not that one. So let's go back to meshes. Let's go back to rocks. And okay, so there's a cave rock. So let's look. Let's put that in there. Okay. I'm going to position this just so then that way it'll be easy enough for the character to be able to walk over that. I might also make this a little bit bigger than it is. At some point you'll feel that the stretching of it will make the rock look unnatural, and then stop at that point. The other thing we could do is maybe put a little bit, well, now that it's bigger, we could probably stick it a little bit more in the ground. Okay, so let's create a secondary one of these, and we're going to do that by using the Alt key and dragging out and making a second one. Now obviously we're going to see things like similar patterns, so with something like this we might want to turn the rock around, maybe give it a little bit of an angle, that way the rocks don't look too similar, or at least they catch the light slightly differently and whatnot. Alright, so let's go ahead and push play, and let's see if our character can actually walk up this. Okay, fantastic. So our rocks are allowing us to be able to jump on them and then walk over. Obviously we don't want to get too close to the edge because at this point we would fall off. So what we need to do is we need to create a plane, something that would allow us, our character, to be able to walk out there and then eventually be able to make it up to the area that we want to. So let's hit escape. I am going to go in to box. We're going to put that down here. We're going to make this a flat plane. So let's say we put this at 10, so then that way it's flat for the z-axis. Let's make it 3000 on one end, and let's make it, okay, let's make the y 3000, and let's make the x 2000. Okay, now let's position this so then that way it's beyond the edge of the cave. Alright, so now we push play, and we have the entrance to our cave, which has got some rocks. We jump up and we get in, and we are now on a platform that we can navigate, and we can start working towards getting up in that direction. Okay. The other thing obviously is that if we walk back in this direction, we don't have anything that even resembles what the inside of a cave might look like. So let's go ahead and start actually generating that ourselves. So again, I'm going to be looking for some of these cave rocks, the large ones, and we're going to start building the outside, or what would be a wall, with these. So I'm going to try to get as much as I can out of these. Let's make them a little bit bigger. And if it pokes through, oops, where am I? Let's see, there we are. Okay. And if it pokes through a little bit, that's okay. That's just giving a little bit of extra to the outside there. Okay. So let's make or grab another one of these large cave rocks, drop it in here. Let's figure out which way is the best way, the longest way to pull that guy. There we go. Let's Let's grab another one. Looking for, those are both medium size. So you know what? Let's do our old famous trick of turning these things around. So we're going to Control Alt, drag this out this way. Let's rotate. And let's move this guy in. Again, while I'm doing this, I don't want to leave any spaces for them to be able to fall off the edge. Let's grab another one of these. Oops. And let's push play and see what that looks like. Okay, that means I'm going to walk in. I'm going to see rocks. I'm going to see this. And we're going to need that to go out that way. So, let's see. Let's make this the x-axis 10,000. Let's pull that this direction. Okay. Now the only thing I really need to do is sort of cover up the front end of that cave. So let's grab another one of these rocks. Let's do this curved one. Drag that out. It's a nice big rock. Let's rotate it a little bit. Okay, let's position it. Alright, at this point we probably need to go back to our landscape, probably take some of this off, some of these extra pieces. So we're going to make the hole just a little bit bigger for the mouth of the cave. We do have our visibility tool. Let's knock down the brush size. Okay, let's push play and let's see what that looks like. Let's back out. I want to see if there isn't. Okay, let's go this way. I want to make sure that there's no weirdness. There's no hole. Now I could probably bring the side of the mountain out a little bit right there, or add a couple of extra rocks just to kind of fill that in. It kind of looks a little bit flat there. Maybe like the rock is hanging off a little bit too much. It doesn't look natural. But let's go in. Okay. And that now gives us the mouth, the entrance of the cave. So now what we need are a little bit more of the walls and something that would look like the top or the ceiling. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that, and we're actually going to very easily do this by grabbing each one of these. So let's go back to our places on modes, and I'm going to use Shift to grab multiple objects together, and I'm going to hit Alt and pull these right up. And I'm going to check. I still have them all selected, so let's pull them up just a little bit higher. I want to see when the wall actually starts to separate and when we can actually start to see through it. Okay, so this is good. What we want to do now is start adjusting each one of these, so then that way we don't see those holes in the wall. Moving too fast. Maybe this one we rotate a little bit. Okay. Let's see what's going on this side. Yeah, we probably need to drop this one. Or no, is that the entrance? Ah! I'm dropping the entrance. Let's make that a little bit higher. Okay, let's go to this rock. I'm not seeing any big changes there. Okay, now for the top of the cave, you could do one of two things. You could obviously fill that back in with rocks. I could, let's see if there isn't anything that looks like a big flat top one. Flat cave. This is what we use for the front. Let's see if we can get this large enough that it might serve as a ceiling for us. Okay. It's not too bad. Also doesn't look too bad. So we can rotate and get some mileage. Alright, let's go ahead and hit build so that way we can see how dark the inside of the cave is going to be. Let's push play. And let's go inside. And yep, okay, so we got a little bit of a hole there, I don't know. That kind of looks creepy. It kind of looks like a face. That might actually be cool. So we might leave that there. So now we have something that looks like cave walls. There's obviously another hole right there, so I might fill that in with a couple of rocks or something like that. We get into, let's say, like a larger cave area. So let's say something like this. We might take this large giant rock that we've got here, and let's hit control. Let's actually just pull it out by hitting a Control C, or I'm sorry, I'm holding Alt as I drag out. And let's do it one more time. Alt, drag out. Okay. Let's do that now by holding Shift. And we are going to do another Alt, drag out. And this time we're going to rotate this 90 degrees to create our other wall, or the back wall, and then we'll position this down and over. It's taking up quite a bit of area. Let's push that back a little bit. Now that means I can actually have a little bit of fun with maybe making it a little bit taller as it goes up, because essentially we need to go up. We don't want this to go straight. Alright, let's push play and see what that looks like. Okay, so we have our cave entrance. There's a couple of places where we need to fix the lighting in there, but now we have our cave entrance and the inside of our cave. Now eventually we could have, let's say, some kind of elevator or a platform that would eventually get us, and what we're looking for is this target right here. So that's what we're actually looking for. So let's actually create a geometry that starts there and goes all the way down. So I'm going to grab a geometry, a box. Let's put that here. I'm going to rotate this. Oops, not that way. And let's rotate this way so it lines up with the front of this. Okay, let's make this, because we're going to need some kind of elevator or some kind of system in there. So let's actually make this box, let's say 400 by 400 by, and we're way up here, so we probably need to make this, I don't know, let's say 10,000 for the z-axis. Let's go and scroll down and see how far down that actually goes. And that's pretty close to our rock cave, so let's see how much further down we could take that. Okay, feel pretty good about that. Okay, let's see, does it actually reach the cave bottom? Okay, so 10,000 is a bit much. Let's make it 8,000. Let's go check the top. Okay, so we're still good there. And let's see. Oh, awesome. Okay. So I think we're like right there. Okay, fantastic. So now we have essentially what will be our elevator or a platform that will then take us all the way up to that level. Now we also could create a secondary level or a tertiary level here, so that maybe there's like an area of bad guys that are going to be here, maybe like spiders or something, and then you have to fight up there at a secondary level. And then maybe closer to the top there's some kind of like lower dungeon to this thing that you go into, and then eventually you get a key that lets you come that lets you open the door here, that then allows you to be able to go into the proper temple. Okay, but you now know how to be able to create the hole that we needed that was over here for the cave entrance, and we've made a nice little kind of like a rock area. We've used what were called cave rocks from the Soul Cave. We've stretched them out quite a bit to be able to make the exterior walls and ceiling, and then eventually we will have this shaft that will go all the way up here to the top area where this temple is, and we've created this obviously to make sure that it's there, that we can actually navigate that, and that this is in the proper place. Okay, so all right, so now you've seen how to use the visibility layer to create a cave, or the entrance to a cave through your landscape. All right, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.